ANDERZÉN.
This is what it feels like to do the things that I do to these cars. I'm not ashamed. I'm not. Anyways, what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to channel ANDERZÉN. If you caught the last episode, you saw this tragedy happen. Snapped the bolt on the PCV diaphragm, and I didn't know what I was gonna do, but that's okay. We're gonna get into it. I'm getting the catch can onto the M156 one way or another, so let's figure it out. Here we go. See you then. Alright guys, out here, first idea is a bit of a defeat. No way I got room to get back here, but I'm looking at tools right now. They do make like the 90 degree drills. Proof that it's cold, me talking like that. That would allow me to get in here with the drill bit. I saw a couple, like they have attachments or actual, you know, drills. I could even try to just attach it to my Milwaukee. The one thing I did want to check as well, if I can, don't know if I'll be able to fit my finger. That hole is not, yeah, it's blanked off, so it's not going into the manifold. And I can easily tape everything off. I just have to tape off that inlet port and then tape off the intake elbow, and that would be protected to be able to drill that little bolt out. I was able to bend the, where is it? The tube down right there. So I got plenty of room to get the lower fitting off. I just need to trim more of that clip because right now it's kind of stuck on it. So I'm gonna go inside, grab some pliers, and try to get that off. See if you guys can get a view. So that is the piece that I'm trying to get off. It is pretty much wiggle free right now, but like I said, the little clasp that's holding it is just stuck, so I gotta try to pry it off. So let me go grab a screwdriver, some pliers, try to get the rest of that off. Alright you guys, after some serious fight, this thing finally came out. This is the bottom connector. Man, it is just such a tight squeeze to get the clasp broken off. I would say this was, if you're doing this with the manifold on and you're trying to keep this intact, probably near impossible. I don't know. It is like a little cinch plastic clip, but I don't know where it cinches at, so trying to release it was a pain. So I eventually just kind of broke all the pieces off. This will not work without some type of clamp on there. It's a very loose fit without it, but we got our piece here, so I'm hopeful that this will be the correct diameter to try to slip over there. So I'm going to test fit it now, and hopefully I'll report back with something good. Alright guys, test fitting of this, I am about 95% sure I'll be able to slip this on. It's very close right now, but it's also really cold, so the hose is not moving much. But I think if I get a little bit of Vaseline and maybe heat this thing up a little bit, I can definitely fit it on there. It's almost like a perfect diameter, and it'll be a nice snug fit. It should fit fine too underneath the little elbow cutout that is right in front of there. So this part, I think we got a success. It'll route totally fine as well. The only other thing to do now is find basically a drill attachment that will allow us to drill that bolt out with space. So I'm feeling somewhat hopeful. Whew. Alright you guys, back inside now. It is freezing. I have to take a break, but I am still hopeful for this piece. I think it can definitely work, but I have another plan. Hear me out. Let me know what you guys think. We have the fitting here that originally goes in. I can cut this tubing off, you know, just like I did the other piece. And what I was thinking was, if I basically I can create the same type of clasp with 4 zip ties, which I know zip ties, but I think it should do the trick. Basically, if I loop one around here, then one on each side in a loop, then I can route another one, and that's the one that can go around the little groove, and then when I cinch that one down, it'll lock it in place, and I can cinch the other ones down as well, and that'll hold plenty tight. It's not going to go anywhere. So I'm kind of leaning towards going this route because it's just way easier to get in there, versus that piece is kind of a bear. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of this off just like I did the other piece, like this piece, and then I'll go ahead and get it ready to try. Probably going to come back to this tomorrow because it's late, I'm cold, and I need a little bit of daylight for some juice, for some motivation. So I will catch you guys in the daytime for the remainder of the video. Alright guys, welcome back to the M156 oil catch can install saga. I am about to attempt something, trying to figure out a plan. For those that didn't see, the bolt from the little PCV valve snapped. Well, I think you have seen it if you're watching this video, but anyways, it's basically down back in this location. Let's see if I can get the mirror in there for you guys to see. So maybe I'll have to zoom in editing, but that hole basically is, actually I can probably just get you guys in there. There you go. That hole is where the bolt snapped off of. My plan right now is to basically use the diaphragm as a guide for the drill. So I have this 90-degree drill attachment that I have, I'm not sure what size it is, like something, I don't know. But I have a couple different sizes I can try to use. Basically, I'm going to try to line it up and drill out the remainder of that bolt. Now, the only thing that caused me hesitation is this diaphragm actually sticks in here pretty good even without the bolt. Like, it takes a pretty significant amount of prying on it with my hands to get it to pop loose. So I've kind of just considered just running it as is and not worrying about it. But I don't know when it's actually like under pressure if it would pop out. From watching Tazo's video, there was only like, I think he was saying 25 psi or something like that is all it really sees. But I guess it could be enough to eventually pop it loose, which I wouldn't want to happen. So I think the best thing is to get that bolt out somehow. So see what I can do right here. If it doesn't look like it's going well, then I'll abandon ship. But yeah. Alright guys, I have both of these Bosch drivers. One of them impact, one of them just regular driver. But the smaller one is kind of hitting on the back of the firewall up here. So I'm going to try to use this one. I'll just obviously have to be very gentle with the throttle, so I can keep it chill, but it'll give me a little bit more room and let me get a little more square on the bolt itself, because I don't want to be off angle. I can tell with this one I was a little bit. It's not doing a whole lot. Alright guys, well, that wasn't going so smooth, so I'm gonna abandon ship for now on that. I think, to be honest, maybe I'll try to throw a bigger O-ring on this and really get it to be a tight squeeze fit and see if it can hold up, and if not, then, you know, we'll go further. But it's I mean, the the drill that I'm using, it's already going off axis a little bit on the bolt. If you guys are able to see, probably not, but yeah, it started walking up towards kind of the upper part of the bolt, and I just don't think it's going to be worth to try to drill out right now. So I'm gonna go dig through my O-ring kit and see if I have anything that is a little bit bigger than, you know, one of these at least, and see if I can get it to be a tight squeeze. All right guys, checking back in. Just ran over to Napa, got some 3/4 inch hose, just put a few little silicone pieces on top of the fittings just to make it the proper kind of tightness, I guess, on the fittings here. That way I don't have to have like a bunch of clamps everywhere, which just gets annoying. But yeah, I switched out the 5/8 hose. The 5/8 was a little more flexible, which was nice. And it did, obviously we did get it to fit over this, but I didn't want this to like bottleneck, you know, a ton with the inner diameter of the hose. It does obviously bottleneck here a little bit, but not, you know, too significantly. Maybe a millimeter or two as far as inner diameter goes. But the other thing I did, always keeping old parts to recycle. So this, when it faces in the car, the end on it basically goes straight down, and there's no way I was going to be able to flex this enough. I mean, maybe to let it kind of be where it needs to be. So I had this old hose laying around. It is a coolant hose, so I'm not too thrilled about that. I mean, I'm not worried about like being resistant, but more so the flexibility of it. This stuff is rated for like 35 psi. The 5/8 was, I think, 30 or 25 psi. And they're supposedly about 25 psi of pressure that at least takes for the diaphragm to open. I don't know what that translates to actually, you know, what's being pulled on this side after the diaphragm, but I guess we'll just have to test it out and see with this hose in place. The other plan I had was to run this, and I guess I still could, but I would just need to do the same thing, kind of slip fit a silicone piece and then put it inside of this hose and route it outwards. But this actually works really nicely because it comes all the way up and then basically just sits right by the valve cover, and I'll be able to connect this 3/4 T-barb to the hose, and then it just has kind of a straight shot up to the front where this will be mounted. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but those are the pieces that I'm working with right now. So the next phase will just be test fitting. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that bolt out without removing the intake manifold, and I'd rather at least test it to see if this can stay in place before I do so. And then obviously down the line, I'm planning on doing the intake manifold on this thing anyways, so when I do, I'll properly drill that bolt out and we can tackle it then. But for now, I'm gonna try to make things work because I just want the car back up and running. The other thing I want to show you guys that I tried to explain in the last video is this contraption that I made. So essentially, I have one clamp or zip tie holding these two that are gonna act as the wings, and then this will be the collar, the bottom one down here. This will be the collar that actually locks on to that bottom piece on the block. So once it's all zipped down, it'll be something like that. And it should hold just fine. It doesn't need to have a ton of like grip on it, but I figured this is kind of a little ingenuity hack right here, because obviously that collar is non-existent anymore after I broke it off, and this thing is not a tight fit like this upper piece is. So yeah, I'll just attach the line straight to here. This one should be no problem to route it straight out. So nothing really left to do besides go and test fit this stuff, and I'll have to cut the line to the length. I think I have about 9.5 feet of it, so it should be enough to get it to where I need to go, hopefully. All right, guys, well, after a lot of hyperextending my knees and patience, finally got that piece mounted in on the bottom. Let's see what you guys can see. But essentially, I don't know what you guys can see right now, but essentially we took those little zip ties, got them to lock around that collar, got it nice and snug. It's snug enough. It's not like there's anything pulling that out once it's on, so not too worried about that lower piece. I'm gonna go ahead and snip this line. Got plenty of length right here, and then we'll go ahead and mount the upper one. I think I might try to maybe zip tie it to the fuel rail just to kind of keep it from even wanting to pop out if it can, and then we'll go ahead and mock up our catch can. I don't have any tools or capability to make the aluminum bracket like I need over here, so I'll need to just get it up and running, situated, position it where I want to, and then at a later date we'll have to go and make the actual bracket to keep it mounted. But let's go ahead, snip this line, and then I'll start mocking up the top. Okay guys, one side mocked up, fit nice and snug. Love not having to use hose clamps. So yeah, let's go for the other side. Alright guys, there is the end of the upper PCV diaphragm coming right up. Nice routing. So now I just got to run that line over to here and put all the airbox stuff back on, and we're ready to test fire. Fingers crossed that the diaphragm can stay in that spot. Alright guys, well, this is how I have things fitted up right now. This thing's basically just wedged between the wiring harness and this rubber hose. Kind of keep things isolated so it doesn't wiggle around until I make the bracket. And our hoses routed nicely over here. I did put a little zip tie just to help keep this diaphragm you know, from falling out. I didn't like make it super tight obviously because it's going on the fuel rail, but just a little bit there to kind of help support it. I guess only thing left to do now is throw in the airbox setup, so let's get that taken care of and fired up. Alright guys, well, daylight is slowly come and gone, but I think last thing left to do is really just test fire it. This is wedged in nicely. It's not at all where I want it to be permanently, but it also puts into reality that it was gonna interfere with this anyways had I put it where I wanted to put it. So it's happy where it's at for now. We may have to put it in this little crevice right here eventually, or if I do the secondary air injection delete, then we can put it right there and that'd be nice and easy. So anyways, I felt around, make sure everything was still, you know, intact, everything's plugged in. Don't forget your little port, or like pressure port vacuum that plugs into the Y split. Maps are plugged in, everything should be good to go. So let me go ahead and fire it up. Oh, it's been, oh man, and we got to take care of that screen. It's been over a week now that we haven't had this thing on, so I'm put myself into my seating position real quick. It's in my wife's. I'm shrunk right now. All right, there we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Uneventful is always good. Let's go listen in the engine bay. good way to test out if these are working. Oh well, it probably works differently actually on this. I was gonna say I should feel vacuum, but probably doesn't work the same way because that diaphragm only opens at a certain time. So yeah, I guess next thing we have to do is just test things out. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go on a quick cruise, kind of romp around a little bit just to double check that everything's gonna stay put. We'll come back and check it out, and hopefully that'll be the end of this one. This video went way longer as far as time from start to finish than it should have. Sometimes it goes like that though, so let's go for a drive. Miss this car. It was made it a little bit interesting having this one down because this is what my wife normally drives, and majority of the time, oh what a surprise, needs fuel. Majority of the time I'll drive the M156 to work, but this week since the E420 was back, I just drove that instead and let her drive the M156 while this was sitting down while I made a decision what I wanted to do, if I wanted to try to drill that bolt out. But honestly, I feel like it just wasn't the right move to try that with the intake manifold on, and with me planning to pull the manifold off of this thing anyways to, you know, upgrade to like the aluminum throttle body plate and just make sure it's all good. I'll probably do that in summer. I just didn't really want to pull the intake manifold off right now. Would have been my third one in like 3 months. We've done the M155, the C55, and yeah, I just didn't feel like doing it, to be honest. Alright guys, pulling up to Costco to get some gas. Might as well if we're gonna start driving this thing throughout the week. And that way I can quickly check the engine bay right now too. Since we've just been driving normal, after I check the engine bay here, we can go ahead and fully romp on it on the way back home. Ooh, look at the lines. Alright guys, filled up, check the engine bay. Everything's still in good position. I don't know if it's just me right now, but both of those starts, to start after not having started for quite a while and right now, is it placebo or like they sounded way smoother than normal? Curious. I don't really know, but honestly, I'm in tune with all the cars enough that like I know what they all sound like, I know what they all feel like. It just feels smooth. Did I get too used to driving the manual swap 90s V8, or did doing this catch can help out? If you have an M156 and you put a catch can on it, let me know. Did it smooth things up for you? Did you notice any immediate differences? I don't know. It's not as common territory as like doing a catch can on the M113 or other motors, just because this one has kind of a unique PCV system with the diaphragm thing. So curious to hear your guys' feedback or thoughts or experience. Well, she's warm. Consider that a quality test. quality assurance test. So after that, now we can go check it at home and see that it's good. Yeah, idle's good. Seems good. I don't smell anything crazy right now, I don't think. Forgot to launch it. Alright guys, back home. Let's go check the engine bay. Okay, this thing is still in place. Don't worry about that. That's just the Vaseline that I used to get it mounted on there. This thing is definitely not going to go anywhere right now just because it's so wedged in there, which is kind of cool until I make the bracket. Let me fill back here. Yeah, the diaphragm is still just fine. Hasn't slipped out at all. So yeah, I'm going to chalk this up as a win, guys. Temporary win at least until I want to pull the intake manifold, and I'll take care of that stupid snap bolt. But let's go inside. Alright you guys, things are finished up now. Glad to have the M163 back and running. If I was going to give you guys some tips, if I would have known so ahead of time, number one, don't snap that bolt on the PCV diaphragm. If you do though, use a zip tie, and it seems to hold it up if you attach it to the fuel rail like that. Other things, 3/4 inch hose. Try to get something that's flexible. The one that I have is not very flexible, but it works. You only need about like a 25 psi rating or more, so it doesn't need to be like crazy stiff. And even with that like flexible part of the coolant hose that I used from the C55 for that little elbow, it's doing just fine. Like, it's not closing up or anything. So yeah, that said, huge shout out to Flash Shark Racing for providing the catch can, just like they did on the C55 and M155. Be on the lookout for one for the W124 coming up here soon. And yeah, we got a lot of things planned for the week. There's some good things popping up, and unofficially but officially, we just hit 2,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. We'll have a special 2K episode sometime soon, hopefully. And just in general, we got some really cool things starting to line up this week and this weekend and etc. So thank you guys for watching. Hope it was helpful, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.